Hello, and welcome to Lay of the Land, a podcast from global law firm K&L Gates, where we discuss the latest thinking, new developments, and best practices in today's real estate industry. We hope you enjoy this discussion. Please reach out to suggest topics or guests, or with questions about real estate law.
Welcome to the first episode of Lay of the Land, a podcast produced by the real estate group at the global law firm of K&L Gates. My name is Matt Norton. I'm a practice area leader for the firm's real estate practice, and I'm joined today by my colleagues, Wayne Smith and Sandra Steele. Wayne and Sandra are my co-practice area leaders. Wayne is in London and looks after our European group, and Sandra is in Sydney and manages our Asia Pacific and Australian group. I'm based in Charleston, South Carolina and New York, and today we are going to share with you a bit about the real estate practice at K&L Gates, along with a few trends that we are seeing in the real estate market generally. First, some background on K&L Gates. We are a very large law firm. We have 48 offices across the globe on 5 continents. We also have one of the largest real estate practices in the world, as we have around 130 lawyers who primarily devote their practices to real estate. In addition to this, we have another 70 lawyers who work in supportive areas like real estate finance, environmental, construction, and tax, but who have a focus in the real estate industry. So all in all, we're about 200 strong across the globe. Geographically, of our 130 primary real estate lawyers, we have around 55 in the U.S., 50 in Europe, and then the remaining lawyers are in our 4 Australian offices, with some coverage in Asia and the Middle East. In Europe, we have large and strong groups in the UK, Germany, in both Berlin and Munich, and Italy. And we also cover France and Belgium. And in Australia, we cover the entire country and have real estate lawyers in all 4 of our offices, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth. We are truly an integrated law firm with one profit center. And what that means for clients is that our culture demands that we move work around as needed to make sure that client needs are met efficiently with the right lawyer who has the right experience for the task at hand. Also, we have standard and local rates available to clients so that we can compete in local markets and keep a flexible and competitive hourly rate structure. With 130 lawyers across the globe, we are strong in all of the core real estate areas, buying and selling real estate, all types of financings, joint ventures, leasing, land use, tax, environmental, and construction and development. We also have strong industry focuses in agribusiness, renewable energy, resort and hospitality, healthcare and medical office, logistics, cloud and data centers, economic development, fashion and the luxury segment, and infrastructure projects like ports and airports. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Wayne Smith, based in our London office, and he can talk about our practice in London and the trends in the European market.
So this is London. The London office was established in 1858, and we moved to flagship offices here at One New Change in 2011. The real estate group in London is recognised as one of the leading advisors in the UK real estate sector, and the profile of the practice in London comprises traditional strengths in institutional investment and portfolio management, complemented by private equity real estate. The real estate practice was established formally at the time of the establishment of the real estate practice area in 2008, at the time of the combination with Kennedy Covington. Our strategy in London is winning big-ticket investment, development and regeneration mandates, and that is to say core real estate, but also in tax, funds, planning and zoning, finance, construction, regulatory and development and investment management. Whilst our primary practice is based in the City of London and the West End of London, we also act on UK national transactions and cross-border international transactions, complemented by our extensive European real estate practice. And we also have a significant practice in corporate occupier work for businesses setting up headquarters in the UK. A typical real estate investment and development project would include asset acquisition and the subsequent portfolio asset management, development and construction, and ultimate disposition. And so the lifetime of material real estate investment projects, which we've undertaken, can be up to 10 years. We also act in the area of public and private partnerships, and where necessary, we have support in disputes and litigation. In summary, we have a nice stable of institutional investor clients, that is to say, advising on acquisition, portfolio management and disposal work. On the private equity side, we're acting for inter alia operators in traditional development, but also in the build-to-rent space. And then on the corporate occupier side, we're acting typically for foreign corporations, particularly from the US, looking to set up business in the UK. And we're acting for a number of marquee clients in the fashion world with their business and space and leasing requirements. As to market trends, the transactional market remains subdued whilst central banks grapple with inflation, although we have seen in the second quarter a rebounding of office investment in the West End of London, which is encouraging. Institutional portfolio management remains busy. Tenant demand has remained strong. And on the private equity side, we think we will see the re-emergence of transactional activity once inflation and contingent interest rates have stabilised. UK interest rates currently forecast to drop back to 5% by the end of 2023. So we think that once interest rates establish a new, more stable base level, then we will see renewed appetite for risk in the investment market, and much of the cash which is currently sitting in the sidelines will come back into the market. Our experience shows that that type of activity can ramp up very quickly, because once money begins to be invested, nobody wants to be left on the sidelines. So the trick is working out when that's going to happen. As things stand at the moment, we don't see that happening much before the end of 2023. 2024 could be very interesting. Contingent, as I say, upon the war ending in Ukraine and inflation being got under control by central banks, and contingent stability in interest rates. That's it from London. With that, I'm going to hand over to Sandra Steele, who's going to talk about the Australia practice and markets. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne, for your update on the UK practice and market. My name is Sandra Steele, and I'm a partner at K&L Gates and one of the global real estate practice area leaders based in the Sydney office. I'm also a member of the Australian board here at K&L Gates, and prior to joining K&L Gates, I was Assistant General Counsel at Lendlease, a multinational construction and real estate company. So I'm absolutely delighted to join this inaugural podcast. So let me tell you a little bit about the background of the Australian branch of K&L Gates. This year, K&L Gates celebrates its 10-year anniversary in the Australian market. When I joined the firm 10 years ago, it was at the time of the merger between K&L Gates and an Australian law firm called Middleton's. So I joined at a very exciting time, and it's been a very interesting journey ever since. K&L Gates in Australia has 4 offices: Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne and Perth. We have a highly experienced national team comprising 10 partners and approximately 25 lawyers, and growing. In terms of our Australian real estate strategy, we are very focused on keeping ahead of the curve and staying in touch with the needs of our clients. Our 3 to 5 year strategy in the Australian market is about growing our capacity in alignment with future market trends and specialty areas. A couple of examples of those areas are the build-to-rent sector and other alternative housing models. Demand will only increase given the current housing crisis in Australia. Also, foreign institutional investment in all sectors. We're also leveraging our global platform to work with multinational clients that have a presence in Australia. I'd also like to share with you some of the services that we offer. We're a full-service real estate team. Our Australian practice typically advises on all aspects of real estate developments, capital transactions and leasing arrangements across commercial, retail, industrial and residential. We also have a significant agribusiness capability, and we act for both local and foreign investors in this sector. We also have a strong planning and environment capability. So in terms of the Australian practice, there's almost nothing that we can't do. I'll move on now to the types of clients that we work for. In Australia, we have an impressive client base. In the construction and infrastructure sector, we are well known for acting for clients in the energy and renewable sector. We also have a very strong practice in the development sector, acting on some of the largest and most significant urban redevelopment projects, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne. We are also heavily active on matters involving infrastructure projects, such as rail system upgrades and student accommodation. When it comes to construction disputes, we represent both project owners and contractors in all forms of dispute resolution, whether it be arbitration, litigation, expert determination, or adjudications. Within the agribusiness space, we assist public sectors on acquisitions with their joint venture parties, also institutional asset investors. On real estate matters, our depth of knowledge enables us to advise across a full spectrum of clients and projects, from complex government portfolio transactions through to smaller investor assignments. Finally, in the transport and logistics space, we act for port authorities, private owners and managers, institutional investors, and terminal and facility operators. Thank you for listening to this brief podcast on the Australian real estate practice. I'm going to hand over to my colleague and friend, Matt Norton, now to talk about our US practice and market. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. In the United States, we have tremendous breadth to our coverage. In fact, we have real estate lawyers barred in almost 20 states and the District of Columbia, and have strong concentrations of lawyers in New York, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., Nashville, and the Carolinas. We also have lawyers who cover California, Oregon, Arizona, Texas, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida, Maryland, Virginia, and New Jersey. We have industry-oriented teams that focus on agribusiness, resort and hospitality, U.S. inbound investment, especially from Asia, healthcare, renewables, and data centers. We are producing this podcast in September 2023, and right now we continue to see weakness in the transactional and lending markets in the U.S., certainly compared to the last several years, but we are also seeing more and more institutional buyers looking to invest large sums in niche areas of the market, especially when there is an opportunity for a programmatic roll-up. We're also seeing institutional investors taking greater risks as cap rates continue to expand in areas like resort and hotel development, renewable development projects, and non-traditional retail and entertainment complexes. We expect to continue to see a lot of distress in the market, especially in office workouts in major gateway cities. And finally, our premier global practice in the agribusiness space is staying very busy assisting clients with the ever-changing federal and state regulatory environment related to foreign ownership of U.S. real estate. Thank you for being a part of the Lay of the Land podcast hosted by the K&L Gates Real Estate Group. Be sure to follow the firm on LinkedIn and Facebook and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Lay of the Land. To listen to past episodes and receive notices for new episodes, subscribe by searching Hub Talks, that's HUB Talks, in your favorite podcast app. Tune in next time for more real estate industry insights.